United States.
This is the biggest red wave I've seen since Ronald Reagan's 49-state victory.
There were appeals to racism in this campaign, and there is racial bias in this country, and there is sexism in this country.
Trump, once again elected to the White House, leaders around the world congratulating him on his historic comeback. But there is one leader who apparently has no plans to congratulate him. Russia's Vladimir Putin, according to the Kremlin.
When asked the question about why hasn't Vladimir Putin congratulated President-elect Donald Trump, he said, let's not forget that we're talking about an unfriendly country that is both directly and indirectly involved in a war against our state.
We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy?
Hey, I just figured it out. I just did a great speech, and I don't know what happened. I must have touched the somehow the controls, but I just want to say welcome, my friends, and I hope you are having a good day. As I was saying, I do feel like the country is on the right path. Donald Trump has been elected. We've been having a much better situation over the course of the last 3 quarters in this country. And I feel badly for my friends in Canada and the UK and other European countries, as well as obviously our friends down under in Australia. You haven't had what you used to have. Your freedoms have been taken away from you. And if you're in the UK, you're fighting for all kinds of things like a single tier justice system instead of one that's divided up into preferential treatment for people who broke into your country and won't leave. You have a situation where you're now going to be subjected to a digital ID unless you fight against it, which means you might as well be in the CCP like they are up in Canada. All they need is their own digital ID in compliance with the globalist government of the WEF. But that's not why we're here today. We're here today to talk about many of the stories that I've been retweeting throughout the day. We are, I guess it's re-exing. Is that right? Rexing? I was rexing them. I don't know. But I do know that we're going to talk about all of that. We're going to talk about the fact that today is a day of remembrance. It's Charlie Kirk Day. It's the day that he's being presented as we speak posthumously and via his wife, the Medal of Freedom. At least I believe that's what it's called. And look, the process is happening right now. And you know what? We should probably take a look at what Donald Trump is saying at the moment. So bear with me and we will take a look of take a look at what's happening right now at the White House. How about that? How about that? Let's take a look on Rumble, via Rumble, the process that's been happening now in real time. I don't think you guys can hear that. Bear with me a moment. There we go.
Just about nobody I can think of. Charlie Kirk was one of a kind. He was unstoppable. And he really was. Boy, when he
This
had an
is the
idea in
president
his
speaking
head,
live
he
via
would-
Rumble.
He would call me, "Sir, please, you haven't done it yet." I said, "Charlie, relax. Just relax." He didn't relax. He'd call me the next day again. It got it done. But he was like
An actual person who
indomitable and
deserves the Medal of Freedom
always
and
will be. He's really
posthumously
irreplaceable. Nobody
will
can
be
replace
receiving
him.
it. I think this is good
But
stuff.
they're going to do great, but you can't replace
Sorry
that
about no
kind
sound,
of
guys.
person and that kind of talent, frankly. The word talent is an important word, but that kind of talent. So we hold his memory in our hearts forever. Every single day of this administration, we will continue to carry out the mission for which he lived, and he really did. He lived for this country. He lived for his wife and his family, but he lived for this country too. In Charlie's honor, we will continue like we have been to fight, 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 and to win, win, win. We're going to win so much. So the Presidential Medal of Freedom is a big deal.
Right.
You have the Congressional Medal of Honor, military, and the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is civilian. And
There
the
you go.
Presidential Medal of Freedom is a really big deal. Very few people get it. Very few people, frankly, qualify. It's a decision of the president, but it's a qualification that's a very hard one to get. And I would like to ask, if I might, the military aide to read Charles James Kirk's citation for the Presidential
guys.
Medal of Freedom.
God
Thank
bless
you very
Charlie
much.
Kirk,
Thank
indeed.
you.
Well said. The first Presidential Medal of Freedom awarded to a true patriot in a long time. Thank you, Roy. You are correct. Oh, Erica, you poor thing.
The Presidential Medal of Freedom is awarded to Charles James Kirk. Accepting on behalf of Charlie is his wife, Mrs. Erica Kirk. Charlie Kirk was one of the most influential American political figures of his generation. At just 18 years old, he founded Turning Point USA and grew it into the largest conservative youth organization in the nation. For over a decade, he tirelessly traveled the country leading a movement to restore respect for our founding principles, reawaken our national identity, and inspire a renewed spirit of religious devotion. He was one of the great debaters and communicators of his time. Despite receiving repeated threats, he remained undeterred and modeled courage, logic, humor, and grace to the next generation. On September 10th, 2025, at age 31, Charlie Kirk was assassinated while addressing a group of students. The United States honors him as a martyr for truth and freedom.
Thank you, Mr. President, for honoring my husband in such a profound and meaningful way. And thank you for making this event a priority amid the peace process in the Middle East. Thank you. Very grateful. Charlie always
I'm gonna make this full
admired
screen,
your
guys.
commitment to freedom, and that's something that both of you shared. So thank you. Your support of our family and the work that Charlie devoted his life to will be something I cherish forever. So thank you. To our gracious First Lady in her office for making this event possible. Thank you as well. It's beautiful. To Vice President and the lovely Usha fans, your friendship has been an unbelievable encouragement. Thank you. And to all our friends and family that are here and watching from all around the world, thank you for loving us. Thank you for praying for us and for believing in what Charlie believed in. And to our Turning Point USA staff and the Charlie Kirk Show staff, we love you more than you could ever know. And to the Turning Point USA chapters that are watching all across America right now, you are the heartbeat of this future and of this movement. Everything that Charlie built, you guys are the legacy holders of that. You are living proof that his mission did not die with him. It lives through you. And Charlie always said the next generation will decide whether freedom endures. And because of you, I know that freedom will endure. It will. And today we're gathered not only to celebrate Charlie's birthday, but to honor a truth that he gave his entire life to defend, and that's freedom. The very existence of the Presidential Medal of Freedom reminds us that the national interest of the United States has always been freedom. Our founders etched it into the preamble of our Constitution, and those words are not relics on parchment. They are a living covenant. The blessings of liberty are not man's invention, they are God's endowment. Charlie lived for those blessings, not as abstract words, but as sacred promises. He used to love to journal about this topic all the time, and with such a heart postured of gratitude. And he believed that liberty was both a right and a responsibility. And he used to say, freedom is the ability to do what is right without fear. And that's how he lived. He was free from fear. He was free from compromise, free from anything that could enslave his soul. His name, Charles, literally means free man. And that's exactly who my husband was. He was a free man. And from the time I met him, sitting across from him, being interviewed on politics and philosophy and theology, anything that Charlie loved, any topic he loved, and I just saw the fire in his soul, and there was this divine restlessness within him that came from knowing God placed him on this earth to protect something very, very sacred for all of us. And he never stopped fighting for people to experience freedom. He didn't. Charlie often said that without God, freedom becomes chaos. And he believed liberty could only survive when anchored to truth. And I remember in one of his speeches, he told the audience that the opposite of liberty isn't law. He said it's captivity. And that the freest people in the world are those whose hearts belong to Christ. But what's so powerful is that Charlie had the ability to communicate so brilliantly across all generations. And he reminded us that in a world that tells us freedom is doing whatever you want to do, the real freedom is the power to live freely and to do what is right. And in one of his journal entries, he wrote that he wanted everyone to know that you can't have liberty without moral responsibility. Freedom divorced from faith eventually just destroys itself. And what's so fascinating about all of this is looking back these past 12 years of Turning Point USA and his mission, there's almost this veil of sacredness. Because what I realize is that while he was building an organization, he was also building a movement, one that called people back to God, back to truth, and a movement that was filled with courage. And ironically, for a man who impacted millions, Charlie never desired to be the center of attention. He just wasn't. My husband was not a man of extravagance. He loved simple but deeply meaningful things, truly. He loved his late night walks. He loved buying more books than he could ever read because he felt there was no such thing as a book budget. And he loved being able to read to our kids the same bedtime story on repeat because he knew it was their favorite. But to him, that was special. And he loved to sit in the sun on a Saturday morning with his cup of decaf coffee, and his phone was off because he was honoring the Sabbath. And for him, it was that moment to catch his breath and just be in peace because he was unreachable at the moment. And he preferred quiet birthdays. But that never stopped me from telling him. I told him every single year, I said, baby, I love your birthday. I said, because it's the day that God knew the world couldn't go another day without you. And so the rhythm of our usual birthday celebration for him was mint ice cream, mint chocolate chip ice cream. He only had it twice a year, on his birthday and 4th of July. It's just, and then after that, it was back to work as usual. But last year, his one birthday wish was to see the Oregon Ducks play the Ohio State. And they won. Oregon won that night. And it was by far one of the most memorable nights of his birthday experience of his life until today. And so, honestly, President Trump, I have spent 7.5 years trying to find the perfect birthday gift for Charlie. And it's so difficult. And those of you that have spouses or loved ones, you know how difficult it is sometimes to buy a gift for someone that you love, because he wasn't a materialistic man, so that also did not help. But now I can say with confidence, Mr. President, that you have given him the best birthday gift he could ever have. It's such an honor and the recognition of a life lived for defending freedom. And that's what Charlie fought for until his last breath. And it was written across his chest in those final moments on one of his simple t-shirts that always carried a message. And this one,
Freedom.
bearing a single word, freedom. That was the banner over his life, and that shirt was a declaration. The same declaration he made in every speech, every campus visit, every time he shared the gospel at a church, every sleepless night that he would spend praying for the youth of this nation and planning for the future of our country, and just impressing upon them that when we defend liberty, we defend the soul of our nation. My husband never told anyone what to say. He never did. He never told anyone what to say. He would just encourage them to think. He would encourage them to think outside of the traditional political labels. He would want them to think in a way that was anchored in wisdom and truth. But he would never tell anyone what to say. Charlie wasn't content to simply admire freedom. He wanted to multiply it. He wanted to multiply freedom. He wanted young people to taste it and to understand it and defend it. He wanted them to see that liberty isn't self-indulgence, it's self-governance under God. He wanted them to see that. And every day I'd see him getting ready for work. He'd put on his cross necklace, he'd put his ring on his finger. And the boldness in his demeanor was always fearlessness. He wasn't afraid. He was never afraid. In his daily actions, whether in office or on campus or at a church, it was always without fear. That was his creed. That is how he lived out every single day. He didn't fear being slandered. He did not. He didn't fear losing friends, I can tell you that. He didn't. He didn't care. He stood for truth and stood for freedom, and he did not, everything else was just noise to him. And it's because his confidence in Christ was absolute. That's why. There was no limit to what he would have sacrificed to defend freedom for all. And if the moment had come, he probably would have run for president, but not out of ambition. He would only have done it if that was something that he believed that his country needed from a servant's heart standpoint. And Charlie lived only 31 short years. No, he's 32, but on this side of heaven, but he lived. He lived every single second he lived. He filled every single day with purpose, and he fought for truth when it was unpopular. And he stood for God when it was costly, but that's what we're called to do. Surprisingly enough, he did pray for his enemies, which is very hard, but he did. He did. He did. No one else, I mean, I saw him do it. No, he never did it in front of anyone else, but I can attest to that. But he also loved people when it was inconvenient. And he ran his race with endurance, and he kept the faith. And now he wears the crown of a righteous martyr. And for me and for our children, the truth really studies our grief, because heaven gained what earth could no longer contain: a free man made fully free. And to all watching, this is not a ceremony. This is a commissioning. And my message is simple. I want you to be the embodiment of this medal. I do. I want you to free yourself from fear. I want you to stand courageously in the truth. Listen for the still, small voice of God. And remember that while freedom is inherited in this country, each of us must be intentional stewards every single day. God began a mighty work through my husband, and I intend to see it through. And the torch is in our hands now. It's in mine, it's in yours, it's in all of yours, it's in all the students with Turning Point USA. And before I close, I'll share with you that I asked our daughter what she would like to say to Daddy for his birthday. She said, "Happy birthday, Daddy. I want to give you a stuffed animal. I want you to eat a cupcake with ice cream, and I want you to go have a birthday surprise. I love you," is what she said. And while our son, he's precious, he can't yet speak, in classic Kirk family fashion, his actions spoke louder than his words, and his gift to you, Charlie, and myself for that matter, was deciding to become the man of the house and be fully potty trained at 16 months. But Charlie, baby, I know that you're celebrating in heaven today, but gosh, I miss you. We miss you. And we love you, and we promise we'll make you proud and Charlie's life was proof that freedom is not a theory, it's a testimony. He showed us that liberty begins not in the halls of power, but in the man of a heart surrendered to God. And so today, as we honor Charlie with this incredible Presidential Medal of Freedom on his birthday, I stand here with tears and just a humbled heart and spirit, because his story reminds us all that to live free is the greatest gift, but to die free is the greatest victory. Happy birthday, my Charlie. Happy Freedom Day. God bless you.
Wow. I don't think I could have done that. Every time I see her speak, I'm just blown away that she literally watched her husband be eliminated right in front of her and in front of those kids. And of course, I wanted to, if possible, bring this to you live during the course of the show. And I want to say thanks to the White House for getting it underway in a timely manner, so we caught exactly perfect where we needed to be. And as the White House says, thank you for joining. To all of you, I jumped right into this right away because I didn't want to miss it. And we didn't miss it, so I'm thankful for that, even though it looked like it was lit by Ed Wood. I was going to say, how come there's no lights anywhere? And Pinochet's helicopter tours is correct. The price of freedom is eternal vigilance. Let's say thank you to everybody who was here early and got a complete mime performance from me, because I had apparently touched the button that mutes my thing. You don't even have to barely like touch the control for it to mute itself. So I'm sorry for that, but I am not sorry for catching that on time with all of you. And I want to say a special thank you to Juliet, who's been soloing the live stream as the wrench today. Thank you for that, and thank you for saying thank you to everybody. I do appreciate you, even though the hour is late there in the UK. Let's take a look at all of the great gifts that were given during the course of the stream or right before. Ruby Hoove gifted a Culture Casino membership. I hope you are feeling better. And of course, she drops $5 super chat saying, have a great evening, Culture and Culturians. Thank you, Ruby Hoove, for that. My good friend and also nemesis, Roland the Wretched, who I will see tonight, says, you told a lie that I never come to your stream last night, Culture. You should know better. Keep it up. And won't wait for 50K. I will find you and wax you one strip at a time. One of us will have fun. Oh, my friend. Now I'm terrified. I want to say thank you to Archer Merchant for this comment. Interesting to me, the stock when society corrects, shock when society corrects certain extremes, like what point is corruption not supposed to be connected instead of yeah, well, the people reeing right now over this moment, and many similar moments that are going to happen over the course of the next 5 to 10 years, will hopefully bring people back to a compass where they have a moral direction, a point of reference to what's right and wrong. And I think that is something we've sorely needed. And thank you for the super chat. My friend Graf Webb, the most consistent person on the internet. Good to see you. Says, for Flurkin's sake. That's right. Hashtag cancel Disney Plus. And I could not agree more with that sentiment. I want to say thank you to the people celebrating something else in the chat. We have, of course, a celebration for a member, long deserved, 17 months, JPRPH1, says, howdy, folks. Howdy to you. my friend. All right. Well, now let's try to get back to our regularly scheduled program with some news on this Charlie Kirk's birthday, or Charlie Kirk's Day, or whatever it'll be called in the future. And thank you all for being here. Let's jump into some I think I want to jump into some silliness before we get back into the serious. How about that? Can we have a little fun? Can we have a little fun? I think we should have a little fun. And I can't find the fun apparently. Let's see. Is that it? Yes. All right. Let's get to it. In order for this to work, I can only share one tab at a time because everything that I want to cover has sound. So let's jump into it. Now, by now, you probably heard Alex Baldwin not only cannot control his itchy trigger finger, which got somebody eliminated, unfortunately, he also doesn't seem to be able to drive. And I've got to tell you, that's a real problem. But what's not a problem before we get into this is the amazing Tony Piacente for 5 Culture Casino Cash. That's right. He says, I'm late, but I'm here. Well, the only thing you missed was us honoring Charlie Kirk on his birthday and the president honoring him with the Presidential Medal of Honor. So that's where we've been so far. And you're ever so generous. Thank you, Tony, for the 5 Culture Casino memberships. Indeed. Tony Piacente is trying to get us almost single handedly to 1,000 members on the channel. And that's a big, big deal, friends and folks. I'm telling you. So watch those names go green. That really does mean something to each and every one of us. Speaking of which, tonight, just a quick reminder, I'll be dropping after this stream the members stream for the Tuesday night watch party with myself and Comics Division. We will be watching the classic and the very first Predator movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger and a cast of amazing people that, well, 2 of them went on to become governors, and that's saying something. All right, let's jump into this because, as I said, Alex Baldwin, not a good driver. Let's take a look. Ollie London on X reported that, Baldwin blames a garbage truck the size of a whale and a big fat tree for crashing his wife's Range Rover in the Hamptons, out in East Hampton. Let's see if we can get enough volume on this for us to appreciate it. Here we go.
Number of names. But this morning I was in this car accident. A guy cut me off in a truck, big garbage truck. I mean, a garbage truck the size of a whale. I've never seen a garbage truck. It must have been something commercial for like taking away material from construction or something. It was the biggest garbage truck I've ever seen. Anyway, I won't go into the details now and bore you, but to avoid hitting him, I hit a tree. I hit a big fat tree and crushed my car, my wife's car. I crushed my wife's car. I feel bad about that, but it's all fine, and I'm fine, and my brother's fine, and blah. Congratulations to everybody on the film festival. Thank you to the East Hampton Police Department, the town police department, for coming to my aid. They came in and we filed a report with them. Officer Gherkin is his name, Gerken. Lovely guy. And there was another gentleman there, I didn't get his name, but Officer Gherkin from the East Hampton Police Department. As nice as can be and as pleasant as can be about the whole thing.
Okay, I didn't make that.
And my wife's car is pretty smashed up. Big tree, big fat tree. And I'm going to LA to see my family. Can't wait. Going out to California to gather my family together, spend a few days out there, and then come home.
Now, interestingly enough, this is his account, right? And I did not insert the smoke detector beep. That's normally something found in other videos. Seems to be prevalent anyway. And they're always, whenever it comes to this guy, you can't really trust what he says. Just mostly because it's not actually true. I mean, well, maybe it's not true. I don't know. I'm going to show you something that I found right before the show. maybe you'll decide that Alec Baldwin isn't really a reliable narrator, especially if he's in the story anywhere. I mean, the police in New Mexico found that out pretty quickly. But let's take a look, because it seems like one of the newer news organizations out there may have found fault or something wrong with Alec Baldwin's way of telling the tale. So yes, yes. Everybody out there's on fire today. But seriously, and thank you, Pinochet. I'll get to both of your celebrations here in a second. But let's bring this in, because because I'm just gonna say shenanigans. Let's see why.
Breaking news right now with video you will see only here on Newsmax. We've just obtained exclusive dashcam video showing the moment actor Alec Baldwin crashed his SUV on the east end of New York's Long Island. The video is from the front-facing camera on a commercial truck. You're seeing the truck here making what's believed to be a legal right turn, and then it slows down.
Seconds later, Baldwin's SUV is seen hitting a mailbox and a tree off to the right side of the truck. The actor, an outspoken Trump hater, claimed on social media that he was driving his wife's Range Rover with his brother Stephen Baldwin in the passenger seat. He said he was trying to avoid hitting this truck, so he veered off the road into the tree. It does not appear, though, that anyone was injured in the crash, but obviously not Baldwin's first encounter.
Breaking news right now with video.
Okay, we'll
you
watch
will
it
see
again, 'cause
only here on Newsmax.
okay, so
we've just obtained
this truck is
exclusive
gonna make a
dashcam
legal
video
right-hand
showing the
turn.
moment actor Alec Baldwin crashed his SUV on the east end of New York's Long Island.
This is why people
the
have
video
dash
is from
cams,
the
by the way.
front-facing camera on a commercial truck. You're seeing the truck here
Okay,
making
there's a
what's
single
believed to be
lane
a
here,
legal
friends.
right turn, and then
One.
it slows down.
Seconds later, Baldwin's SUV is seen hitting a mailbox and a tree off to the right side of the truck.
The truck's getting
the
out of the-
actor, an outspoken
Oh.
Trump hater, claimed on social media that he was driving his wife's Range Rover with his brother Stephen Baldwin in the passenger seat.
Yeah,
he said
I
he was
think
trying to
he was
avoid
driving
hitting
a-
this truck.
I think he was
so he
driving
veered off
being
the
a
road
fool.
into the tree. Does not.
I think he was being a fool. What do you guys think? He was speeding. It was raining, and Range Rovers aren't exactly short stoppers. And yeah, exactly. Cool story, bro. Yeah. So I mean, am I wrong? JPS says, get off the street. Alec Baldwin is driving. I know. How does this happen? Do you think he was drunk? I mean, you know what, Ann, we the North, it's great to see you again. You might be right. I mean, Trump did it. It was Trump's fault. Mark Daly, Baldwin drives worse than he shoots. Well, unfortunately, he almost got a 2-for-1. You think about when it came to the deleting of that young lady, the cinematographer. What a tragedy. We need a poll. How drunk was Baldwin? I don't know, but it doesn't sound like he was drunk enough to reek enough to get the cops to charge him. Yep, it's me, says. He wanted to pass the truck on the right and ran out of real estate. Yeah, he found a tree. The tree did not jump out in front of him. He was arguing politics with his brother. Thank you, Caveat Ties. No, and that's the thing. And Pinochet was kind enough to send a rumble rant, a rant. I want to say thank you for that, saying, I know Alex Baldwin hates me. Does he? But the Hunt for Red October is one of his best roles. It's a true story. It truly is. But yeah, I just wanted to bring up the fact that that's interesting. Wait, Brahma Bull says you need to go pull up the newest Piers Morgan episode and react to Callie Dem Betty Yee melting down. What? Send me that. That is 2 Dems in 1 week that have blown up their campaigns. Oh, dude, yeah, and thank you, Brahma, for that. If you want to send me the Twitter share link, that would be great. Yeah, if not, I'll throw it into Thursday's show. But look, and that, by the way, we are going Tuesdays and Thursdays now, guys. So yeah, this is crazy. Channel Surf says he tried to pass on the right, was probably honking his horn. The truck moved over to the right, and Baldwin had to veer out of the bike lane. Only sidewalk on the right, dude. If you've ever been anywhere near there, yeah, I mean East Hampton's even more so. But anyway, it's nuts. The guy's always fabricating, never telling the truth. Hey, Helena, good to see you. Look at all y'all. You guys are on fire. Pinochet's been here forever. Thank you for celebrating your anniversary here, my friend. It has been a long time, and I appreciate you. We need a poll. I don't know if we should do a poll. I mean, he must not have been drunk, right? He must not have been drunk. It's a MAGA tree. Thank you. And we the North. I think you might be right there. Stephen Baldwin was in the car. I wonder what he witnessed. I'm just curious. It was the first thing I thought, though. He had to have been hammered. I don't know. Tony Piacente says, and I quote, I'm thinking of investing in a dash cam for my relocation drive to Florida. That's a good idea. And get a rear-facing one as well if you can, and link them together if you can. It's always a good idea to have some backup to your statements. And people do drive a fool along 35, so just keep that in mind. Sunder Hammerslag says, MAGA mailbox strikes again. There you go. I don't know where he came from. It must have been hauling tail. I mean, he must have been flying down the road in the rain. It's raining. Don't speed in the rain. Okay? Not a good idea. Mark Daly says, another crazy Cali poll. Guess that's why they call it the land of fruits and nuts. Well, there are lots of crazies there. But what? Hang on. Dr. Jones, what's going on? Says, get me on your dang show. Hey, Dr. Jones is a cool cat. We definitely have to hang out. I got to figure it out. Six says, looks like the truck pulled out in front. Dude, yeah, like a half a mile or so in front of him. I mean, Baldwin was probably not paying attention. Anyway. And if he wasn't speeding, he could have slowed down very easily to navigate that situation. Chances are he was laying on his horn, as was suggested in the chat, and got impatient, as Channel Surf suggested, and was going to pass on the right. So there's that. Sean, good to see you, buddy. Sean, the artist formerly known as John Cucksack, I can't say it. LLM says, thank you, Pinochet, for making Chile great again 50 years ago. That's right. You just didn't want to get in a helicopter if that man suggested it to you. I'm just saying. Corbin Dallas says, I'm speeding in the rain. I'm speeding in the rain. Because he couldn't execute a safe slowing speed and came to a sudden arboreal stop. Well, let's take a look. We'll watch this video one more time and see what's up. Okay.
Breaking news right now with video you will see only here on Newsmax.
Okay.
We've just obtained exclusive dash cam video
This is the
showing
whale-sized garbage
actor
truck.
Alec Baldwin crashed his SUV on the east end of New York's Long Island.
Doesn't
the video
seem like
is from
they're going
the
very
front-facing
fast.
camera on a commercial truck. You're seeing the truck here making what's believed to be a legal right turn, and then it slows down.
Seconds later, Baldwin's SUV is seen hitting a mailbox and a tree off to the right side of the truck. The actor, an outspoken Trump hater, claimed on social media that he was driving his wife's Range Rover with his brother Stephen Baldwin in the passenger seat. He said he was trying to avoid hitting this truck, so he veered off the road into the tree.
What a shame.
It does not appear, though, that anyone was injured in the crash, but obviously not Baldwin's first encounter.
Breaking news right now.
All I know is that if you see a garbage truck turn in front of you, you might slow down a little bit. And it doesn't seem like there was a high rate of speed. Everybody in the chat's funny. By the day suggests the truck was making a wide right-hand turn. It swerved to the left for a span so it can make a clean turn. The Baldwin car didn't realize this and tried to pass on the right. Also illegal, by the way. Yeah, and this is just weird. It's impatient. He tried to illegally pass on the right is suggested here. And again, I'm sorry. I think that any regular traffic court judge or any traffic cop would be able to probably size this up. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. It's possible. I'm not usually wrong, but possibly. At least not twice in one day. I could be wrong. I'm curious about facts. Oh no, me too. I mean, it's just his facts are not necessarily spot on. The truck's like, all right, I'm going to keep going. But if you look, it's a single lane on each side road with a clear center lane defined by the yellow and and it doesn't look like anybody's going very fast on this road. I mean, let's observe the things that are around us. I mean, I would say max speed on this probably 35, but that's a guess. I guess I could look it up and find out what it says on Google. And the truck's not lollygagging. Curious. Anyway, it is what it is. I just thought it was interesting because now we had two different stories of what's going on and visual representation of what actually happened. Thrawn says it's always the wife's car. Yeah. No, it wasn't half a mile. Yeah, you're right. I did originally say that, but it really wasn't all that much. I mean, and everybody's hot hauling butt. What's the intermittent time on most wipers? And you should be able to figure out based on the distance traveled and the timer on the top right-hand corner what was actually going on. So we're what, 2 minutes, 3 seconds, 2 minutes, 33 seconds into it. It's crazy. It is what it is. All right. But we need to move on. We want to move on to this Pinochet's helicopter tours for another little present saying, speaking of Predator, IRS nemesis John McTiernan has a great single shot progressive camera scene heading up to the assault on the insurgents. Really? Interesting. I'm blaming Obama. I'm not blaming anybody other who than was driving. I didn't notice that, Roy, but you may be right. I didn't see any breaking through the grass. So maybe we'll bring that up towards the end. But we have many stories to cover, folks. And I don't want to get stuck on one thing. I do want to say this: take your time, drive safely, and arrive alive. And don't ride with Alec Baldwin. I keep saying Alex. I don't know why that is, but it's Alec. Alec. I wonder what Alec Baldwin's insurance premiums are. I don't know, but it sounds like we've been paying. Sounds like we've been paying part of the super wealthy actor types' premiums for their insurance, like Nick Cage's house in New Orleans and Matt Damon's place, and I think that's pretty crazy. I think that's pretty nuts. All right, so let's get rid of Alec Baldwin's lie and the posts we just looked at, and let's start at the beginning. So today's theme, I'm going to tell you, and eventually I'm going to make it a game. What's today's theme? Once we've started the show, I'm going to run some clips early on and some different pieces, and we're going to decide. I'm going to ask you, what's the theme of today's show? Well, today I'm going to tell you. Today it's voting, voting, voting. True story. In fact, I'm going to run a montage here in a moment that kind of breaks this down. But before we get to that, I want to stop about a lot of different, I want to talk about a lot of different program details and information coming out of Oregon, which will disturb some of you and frustrate the rest of you and, make mad all of you. I hope. I mean, I don't hope for that. I just, oftentimes we share similar emotions when it comes to nonsense. So let's start here with an Eric Doherty post from X today saying, breaking, in a distrusting move, Oregon Democrat officials are set to allocate over 2 times as many funds for illegal alien health care than for state police. Okay? And it's not insignificant, folks. Illegals are getting 1.5 billion and police 717 million. Where's our money going if it's going for this kind of stuff rather than taking care and securing the population, especially in the state of Oregon, which desperately needs something?
Is reportedly spending more in its budget on health benefits for illegal migrants than it sets aside for state police. Oregon officials expect to allocate $1.5 billion in combined state and federal tax dollars on a program that offers health benefits to illegal migrants from 2025 to 2027. Now, during that very same period, they expect to spend $717 million on the Oregon State Police.
Okay. Now, I can manufacture some outrage here, but I mean, I'm just more frustrated. But at this point, I'm not surprised. I'm just not surprised. This is kind of like the daily thing. You know what I mean? I missed this. Everybody's saying Dean's right. Dean says, the lesson I take away from this, Alec Baldwin should not be allowed to use anything that has the potential to destroy, kill people. He may only use a spork from this point forward. Okay, I got it. Anyway, that is a win. But going back to that, yeah, I thought he was estranged from Steven too. But look, if they what do you call it when you are okay with another person again? You're no longer estranged, formerly estranged. You've reconciled and decided your differences are, what it is. Anyway, so but I will tell you, I am I'm very not surprised by the fact that they're spending more money on illegal healthcare than they are on police. They don't seem to like defending themselves in a given place. And I'm going to say this. Probably one of the greatest political ads is a clip from a debate. If you aren't aware, there is a election going on in several states for governor. And As we progress forward into November, which is usually when elections are held, people are going to have a more clear choice when it comes to candidates. This particular set is thank you, Six. Do vote early. That's one of the things that the red side of the equation doesn't do often enough. And then check with the registrar to see if your ballot was received and properly processed, so you actually get to vote for the candidate you choose, not for what somebody else changes things to. Regardless. Let's take a look at a clip that I am still fascinated by, and that actually became an actual political ad because of its ridiculousness. Let's take a look. Shall we? We shall. From Winsome Earl Sears, gubernatorial candidate, we have this.
I'm Winsome Earl Sears, candidate for governor, and I sponsored this ad.
Would it take him pulling the trigger? Is that what would do it? And then you would say he needs to get out of the race? Abigail, you have nothing to say? Abigail, what if he said it about your 3 children? Is that when you would say he should get out of the race, Abigail?
Thirty-second ad, because this woman would not call out someone from her own party who accidentally sent text messages revealing his desire to eliminate another politician with 2 slugs, saying it would solve a problem, and then added later to eliminate the children as well. How's that sound? Does that sound good? Mark, clearly Oregon doesn't need any federal funds if they're wasting money in this manner. I agree. Cat Slave, it says, Governor Kotex, the shame of Oregon, is a big proponent of defund the police. Oh, I know. And apparently so is the Portland police chief. That guy looks like a maroon. Generic Brunette says, twice as many illegals than police. Well, yeah. I mean, there's that. Elizabeth Young was not surprised by that. Neither was I. And here's a big problem with what's going on. Tony, I want to highlight your comment, but I can't. But thank you, because you're not wrong. I think we've seen a lot of candidates like implode their campaigns. I mean, Brahma mentioned one already, and we're going to cover one for sure because that Porter lady is in big trouble. I've got a video on that with numbers, but I'm continually looking at what's happening in the various parties, at what they're saying, what they're practicing, all of that. And yet I still feel like California is the worst off because they keep putting scumbag candidates in place. And I think that's a real problem. We're gonna take a look at a wiener, and that's his last name. Okay, there's a lot of wieners out there. This is a particular wiener we're gonna talk about. All right, and somebody asked me if I was aware that there was a pig on my thumbnail. Yes, a big old sow. Yes. Anyway, 6, it's Oregon. The illegals voted for it. Oh boy. This is so weird. That's funny. Win some, you lose some. I think Winsome is going to win. I think she's a very lovely, thoughtful, 2A11 gubernatorial candidate in a state that desperately needs one. Look, New Jersey, Virginia, and California, states that need change. I'm just going to say it. But you know what else needs changed? Before we move on to the video that I wanna submit, it's what I call a montage. Um, I want you guys to see this. This is from Robbie Starbuck. He's been doing the Lord's work for a while now, battling against DEI, woke, and all the rest of it. But he says, just a reminder, this Dem sponsored in past. That's right. These are all the things that this person sponsored and passed. We'll take a look at it. So, a California bill to no longer make it a felony to knowingly give intimacy partners HIV and to knowingly donate blood when you have HIV. How's that sound? For all you medical professionals out there, does that sound like a good idea? Right? Of course, he also sponsored and passed a California bill to lower penalties for intimacy with young people within a 10-year age gap. In other words, fan of the playground, this guy. That way they didn't get on the database. In fact, they don't want a database. He voted against California Bill AB 379, which increased penalties for soliciting. That would mean to try to have intimacy with somebody for reasons, because solicit, it's a different conversation, with 16 and 17-year-olds for, those purposes. And he was one of only 2 California senators to vote no on that particular bill. It's kind of a very weird and alarming track record. I would suggest that's correct. And that's the problem with a Wiener. Scott Wiener, in case you don't know it, this is Scott Wiener. He is a terrible, terrible man. He says specifically, and I'm not sure why he does this, because he's like unfairly linking people of particular persuasions to his own messed up head. But he says LGBTQ people have been massively and disproportionately targeted and subjected to being slammed on the registry for people who illicitly do things they shouldn't, with oftentimes, people that are either unwilling or are far too young to consent. Targeted and slammed for breaking the law. I don't think this came out the way he meant. Let's see what he had. Look, this is a news clip, YouTube. So I'm just playing a piece of news in a discussion about State Bill 311. Okay, let's see what he has to say for himself. I'm curious. I don't know about you.
We know that the sex offender registry contains a massive array of crimes, including, having sex in a car or in a park. That gets you on the sex offender registry.
Well, that's because it's illegal to do. He probably should know that. Just so you know. Let's see what else he has to say.
We also know that LGBTQ people have been massively and disproportionately targeted and subjected to being slammed onto the sex offender registry. That's the whole history of the sex.
That's not the whole history. He's rewriting history. Let's go ahead and keep going.
Sex offender registry. So this aspect of the bill is incredibly overbroad and discriminatory.
Look, these are not the kind of subjects I like to cover. It's not, illegal things. Still not so much fun. This being especially illegal stuff that he seems to be all in favor of is very disturbing. Why they keep electing or re-electing this guy for any job is beyond me. I mean, the question here in this meme is why are they on the offender registry? And of course, nobody wants to answer that question. I won't go into any of this stuff. I mean, it doesn't help anything. But a year ago or so, Shauna Nona talks about the issue where, people are trafficking in other humans for purposes of illicit intimacy. This kind of thing is something we should be beyond. The laws should have taken care of this, and softening the laws should never be proposed. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I kind of have a moral compass. Um, just is what it is. It does sound disturbing. Yes, it does. Um, Again, I just wanted to talk about Wiener and how awful he was. That's going to get clipped. But anyway, our good friend over there in Australia says if you want my 15 cents worth on the topic, here it is. Well, thank you for your $2 Australian. Is that really only worth 15 cents right now? Dang. I'm sorry, friend. I'm not sure what you get with that, but it is what it is. Let's get back to the main. Anyway, there's a lot of really bad things going on and a lot of really bad people in important places that how did they get there? Do people not understand their motivations? This guy's motivations, I mean, if you look into his background at all, you won't misunderstand him. You'll recognize what they're trying to do. It's no bueno. And I look, I don't want to sugarcoat anything, but I don't suspect this is a powerful person that's alone. I think there have been plenty of people discovering things that they shouldn't over the years that we just don't know about yet. Oh, Dean Grant says there was nothing accidental about those texts. He forgot to delete them. As lawyers will say, never in writing and always in cash. He was running for AG and did not know that. Well, he's pretty much an idiot. Of course, we're talking about Jay Jones. He's running for attorney general. How would you possibly put somebody in a position like that after he says those things to somebody? Uh, yeah, my friend Shellback TJC is currently stuck in Washington. I'm so very sorry, my friend. A little bit farther south, and I don't know that you'd be better off because it doesn't look like Washington, Oregon, or California are good places to be for right and just people. Sean says you can't drink out of the fountains in Oregon, which this wealthy lumber baron donated to the city 120 years ago because the homeless use it as bidets. I'm going to vomit. RJ McCready is correct. California's end stage left wing. Yes. We're in the weirdest place. I'm having tacos. I love tacos. I had 2 taco nights last week. It was so good. Yep, that big old wiener. He's just really skinny and tall and likes to go shirtless a lot with other guys. Dr. Jones says California or California, like Canada, is a CCP satellite indeed. Z knows that the only way to dominate the world is to destroy the West. California and Canada, well, they're willingly doing so, but they want to do to the rest of the United States. And you know what? There are a lot of us that won't tolerate that. If people are worried about quote unquote civil strife and what that leads to, well, it might lead to a deep cleaning. I don't know. We'll see. I am not a fan of mass violence, so I'm not a fan of the riots. I'm not a fan of people attacking places and things. I'm not a fan of people wearing black bloc going up against government agents who are just doing their job in a very legal way and trying to, well, help people depart this country who arrived not so legally, let's say. What's up, DJ Ronnie G? Good to see you, buddy. We've got, let's see. This is Belt Loop 29. That's a lot of belt loops. Thanks for being here. Sub to you. Roy says, that is criminal. They locked people down and vandalized people who did not get the thing and accused them of doing other things to others. Yeah, I don't want to get into any of that. I'm kind of done. Like, I kind of feel like I'm good. I know the team I'm on. I'm on the team of good people, and I'm not on the team of the bad people. It's that simple. Too simply stated for sure, lacking in nuance also. But yeah. You know what? I'm going to run the montage because there are a lot of you here right now. And for those of you who are here, share the stream, share the dream. I would appreciate the exposure. And I want to say thank you to Troy Pacelli, who actually shared it in X. If you've got a social media that you think is not being represented, please help. Please help. Speaking of please helping, Hemorrhoid Hurts again for another Canadian too. Says, Wiener, ich habe eine kleine Wurst. Yeah, a very small one. I have a small, that's what that means. It's German. So yeah. I have. Anyway. I'm not going to teach you guys to speak German. Filings list Wiener as a candidate in 2028, and since launching an exploratory committee in 2023, he's repeatedly said he would run when Nancy Pelosi retires. So, well, just one form of human scum replacing another, if that were to happen. Anyway, let's see if we can catch up. You guys are on fire. The chat is burning up. They're burning up for my love. Okay. Anyway, let's take a look at the weekly montagio, and well, look forward to some stories we'll be talking about soon. There we go.
And I never voted in that election, so why would the Secretary of State's website say I voted when I didn't vote?
Let me get the gal that actually handles those questions up here.
I'm sure you're getting a bunch of them. And I'm going to put the answers out there. Maybe the world will stop calling you. But yeah, it said I voted in that election, then it said I voted by a mail-in ballot in another election that I never voted by mail-in ballot in either. It was interesting.
What information leads you to believe that this wasn't an accidental mix-up with the shipping?
So is there any other question from any other member?
Can you speak to the perception that the public might have of your false investigating?
Is there a question?
Another thing that's happened, and very few people paying attention, you probably are, which is they demanded, the DOJ did, our voter data. Not just ours. In Illinois, every state's voter data. Why? They won't tell us why. And actually, what they seem to be looking for, remember back to the 2020 elections, is they want to be able to find voter fraud, which which lots of organizations have been looking for voter fraud, as you know, for a long time. There's very little voter fraud going on, very little. They're calling for all these databases so that they can look through them, and yet they won't tell you when they're going to come up with any conclusion about whatever it is they're looking for. Next year, when we have a November election, I think you're going to see two things that occur. One, you won't have had any results from this mass collection of data, of voter data. And then the second is you're going to have soldiers or people dressed as soldiers at polling places saying, we're protecting your voting rights. This is about voter integrity. And then the possibility that they'll be doing what Michael Flynn urged the president to do back in 2020, which is seize the ballot boxes at the polling places so that we can have the military do a fair count. Now, if you put all the things together that are happening right now, that wouldn't surprise me at all. Think about how hard they fought on this issue of whether the election had been stolen in 2020, right? The January 6th riot being an example of that, but lots of other things. And then all of those people at January 6th, being pardoned. All of that, put all those together and ask yourself, do you think what I just said is completely ridiculous? Do you think what I just said is something that's really possible with Trump as president and Stephen Miller in the White House and all the same people kind of advising the president that are at the edges of the law?
I think that Katie Porter's making history because she has potentially annihilated her chances to be the next governor of California more so than any other candidate I've ever seen so quickly. My goodness gracious, what are we talking about right here? Well, let's take a look. Chance to be the next California governor. According to the Kalshi prediction market, Katie Porter's chances have fallen through the floor. Just 2 days ago, she was the plurality leader in the prediction markets at 40%. Now, get this, her chance has fallen by more than half to just 16%. My goodness gracious. Meanwhile, Alex Padilla, who's not even running for governor of California at this point, he's a sitting senator from that state, his chances have gone up through the roof from 10% all the way to 27%, nearly gone up threefold. Now, one of the big reasons why the prediction markets have moved so much on Katie Porter's chances to be the next governor of California is because people are really interested in this story. Take a look here. Google searches for Katie Porter at an all-time high, despite Katie Porter having a long political career. Get this, up over 10,000% versus just a week ago. And not so surprisingly, the top topic searched alongside Katie Porter at this point, interview. It turns out maybe you shouldn't snap at a local political reporter.
Yeah, probably shouldn't do that. It's not good for your political career. Of course, Pritzker is trying to project and obfuscate. He knows why they're looking at the voter rolls. He knows why he wants all the states that are questionable. He knows why that all the states don't require ID are suspect. I think the pure disingenuousness of that was something to behold. I don't think Katie Porter's got a chance in Hades of coming around, and I think we're starting to see common sense return to the masses. At least most people. They did an interesting interview. By the way, Don Lemon got embarrassed on some of his street video interviews recently because, well, he's a liar. He's always lying. He actually told multiple people over the course of one interview that crossing the border illegally isn't a crime. Okay, then what makes it illegal? See, he misunderstands. There are different levels, of course, of crime. You have, you have misdemeanors and felonies, and he also misinterpreted the law as well, because the first time that you cross the border illegally and are, instructed to return or given free transportation, that's a misdemeanor. If you do it again, it's a felony. You've just committed a felony. How many times have you heard this person's crossed the border illegally 30 some times? Well, they're a felon. It's not difficult to understand the law if you actually pay attention. And having somebody who was supposedly an anchor style journalist on a network, first of all, it's disgusting that he doesn't understand the law or any of the stuff he's really talking about. And there are times I will make a mistake. I will correct a mistake. Don Lemon's never once corrected a mistake. I've never seen him say, my fault. it's bad. And as many people in the chat, including Read by Nature and Davina Duckworth, and some brilliant humor there by many of you. eh, There's a reason she has an ex-husband who's very vocal, because she very much hurt him on many occasions, according to his. Well, I mean, I guess it was actually adjudicated along with lots of situations in court and domestic issues that the two of them had, but she literally scalded his head with boiling potatoes. That's not a lie. It's Don Lemon. Thank you, Dr. Jones. But again, we're in a weird world because, and again, I include in some of the thumbnails and the stuff that I use that facts matter, because they absolutely do. And the thing is when confronted with facts, and even especially if there's video or audio representations of the claims that are being made, it's really easy to make a case. But the minute you start to hear somebody say, "Don't believe your lying eyes, don't believe your lying ears," they're cooked. JB Pritzker is an example of that. Katie Porter is an example of that. She is a horrible person. We watched that video last week. But who's not horrible people? Well, Winsome Sears is going to be a great governor, and there is going to be another governor. And I kind of want to show you this, because this gives me hope, not just for humanity, but for our country, because I've been paying attention to this particular race very, very closely. This is actually from SaveJersey.com's website, and it's a story that I think should give you all hope, or at least I hope it does. I hope it does give you hope. Anyway, let's take a look at it. And I need to shrink it up. This is the problem. I set my screens and all my windows to one size, and then they misbehave, but ain't misbehaving now. Let's go. New poll, Citarelli. That's such a great name, right? Citarelli leads among unaffiliateds and those definitely voting. Guess what? You want those things. Unaffiliated, independent voters. They don't have a party they're particularly partial to. And the people that are definitely voting, well, you're going to love these numbers. You ready? Let's take a look. So the stars may be aligning here. A new neighborhood research poll dropped at the end of last week, Save Jerseyans, and it shows Jack Citarelli and Mikey, by the way, that's a woman, not a dude, Mikey Sherrill, tied 44% apiece, but they have other elements of this survey we'll pay attention to. Jack Citarelli and versus Mikey Sherrill's platforms clearly defined for you. Of course, this is very pro Jack. So, I mean, it is what it is. But keep men and boys out of girls' sports. Jack Citarelli believes that. Protect parental rights and families. Yes, that sounds good to me. Opposes surgical reassignment of young people. Yes. And sues Catholic nuns and hospitals. No. Now, Mikey Sherrill, on the other hand, the exact polar opposite on every one of those issues. So there's that. But let's get back to the actual numbers. So Citarelli leads 46% to 42% among those who definitely are going to be voting in the cycle. He's also had 49 to 30% among unaffiliated Garden State voters. So those are good numbers for Citarelli and suggest he's poised to win if Republicans return their ballots and show up to vote in force for early in-person voting, which begins on October 25th. And one of the reasons they suggest that in states that have early voting, especially in-person early voting, is so you can start to see the race divide, and you can start to get a feel for the momentum. And then you can obviously encourage more momentum to the people that are in there in a given area. But I can't, I mean, if you believe in what you're voting in, if you believe in your heart what you are affiliated with, if you understand your actual beliefs and your right and wrong choices, I'm going to encourage you to vote, even if it's not with something that I would appreciate or enjoy, but I want people to vote. And I think it's very important. And I think these sets of elections, recall elections that are happening here in November, replacements for governors or even like people like senators and representatives and things like that. I really do believe that is key importance. So we're gonna take a look at another story I think is part of the Citarelli story. Because it's important. It adds more nuance and context and additional information. And again, whenever I have new information, I can incorporate it into my decision making process, and so can you. It's the way most people operate anyway. So, in a new poll from Neighborhood Research, again, you have that head to head: Citarelli 44% versus Mikey Sherrill, who's been losing ground quickly. Okay. This needs more door knocking. This needs more money. Needs, more investment by those of us, who can afford it. Unaffiliated voters, as I mentioned before, 19% advantage, 49% to 30. And definitely voting, Citarelli leads by 4. Those are all good signs. But dead heat right now, statistically speaking, and we'll have to see what happens. But this is definitely something you can find. This is under Matt Rooney's Matt Rooney, New Jersey, or Matt Rooney NJ account. You can go find this over there. One of the things I like to do, if you guys haven't noticed, is do research, make sure we have full context and get all of the stories. I want every aspect that I can find. So if you guys ever find something you want me to cover and have a few items to share about it, that's something that I'm definitely going to talk about. All right. Now, before we get too far along this road, and again, hey, Orlando's here. Good to see you. You're good. You're good. Research. That's right. Let's talk very quickly about a former administration a while ago. The one that tried to, sabotage this administration, as a matter of fact, the current one. It seems like there's problems. Now, I'd like to talk about what these problems are, but instead, I think I'm just going to show you, because there was a new news report that dropped recently that I think you all might be interested. This is from Salty Goat over on X, Salty Goat 17, if you'll want to look them up that way. And I think we're going to find somebody maybe in trouble, maybe big trouble. Let's see. Salty Goat's opinion is Obama is going down, and so is every other traitorous POS. Ooh, that's harsh words. That was involved in the Russia misdirect. I'll just say it that way. Let's take a look. Alert from Fox News. This is a long one, kids, so we'll probably break it up into commentary.
Fox News alert: the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, releasing a bombshell report today that shows a conspiracy by a sitting president, Barack Obama, and his intel agencies to sabotage the president-elect, Donald Trump, brainwash the electorate, and undermine the legitimacy of an election.
Okay, we've heard these claims before. Interestingly enough, Tulsi came out to have a conversation with the press in a briefing. And this was included in some of that. Now, I'm not sure if they'll have in this news report some of the question and answer that Tulsi conducted after presenting all of this evidence. But it's worthwhile to find if you haven't seen it. But let's see if it's included. This is a pretty long segment.
There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't.
Gabbard got her hands on a House intel report that's been locked away in a CIA vault for almost a decade. Investigators spent over 2,000 hours looking into how the Russia hoax was born.
Okay, that's a lot of time that people spent. Teams of people working for several days getting to 2,000 hours. So they probably know of what they speak and are pretty well informed of all the nuances. For Tulsi to come out this strongly and say this stuff and refer it to the FBI for investigation and the Department of Justice for prosecution, I would suggest that's a conversation for sure. Um, um, and look, skepticism right now is high because I have it too. But I just watched Comey, get indicted and went to his pre-trial bits, and I just saw, Brennan's about to get smashed, and I saw somebody else. What is the other lunatic out there that was crazy? Bolton. That's right. I just saw Bolton probably getting more additional charges, but we'll continue. We'll continue. And again, I will be 100% convinced when I see orange jumpsuits as well. So for those of you that are looking out for the orange colors, what I really am disgusted by is the FBI allowed for Comey to not be walking in the front door and mobbed by the press and or even perp walked. You have to remember, Trump was poorly treated when they didn't even have actual factual information on him. And I mean, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Treat others like you would like to be treated. I mean, am I wrong? Am I old fashioned? I don't know. Let's continue.
Interviewing 20 CIA and FBI officials. And it turns out that the Obama administration doctored the intelligence to make it look like Putin and Trump stole the election. A month after Trump beat Hillary, Barack Obama wasn't satisfied with his intelligence reporting and ordered his CIA director to create a new assessment of how Russia interfered with the election.
So if you don't get the right result, go back to the well? Somebody help me. Somebody help me. Because, hang on, didn't Ray lie? That WRAY guy? I mean, there's a lot of people lying on this stuff, especially Adam Schiff, who's been encouraged to resign by both sides of the aisle. That's, Anyway, so let's see if they think this guy is in big trouble.
This was a highly unusual move. John Brennan handpicked 5 CIA analysts to write the assessment, and they were siloed. None of them knew what the other was doing. And only one analyst was in charge of drafting this report. There was nothing routine about this, and it was a rush job to publish before Trump was sworn in. Nothing was coordinated.
Why would they do that? Why do you think?
With the other intelligence agencies either. Basically, this was home cooking for Barack Obama. There were 4 key elements from the assessment that were repeated over and over again and formed the basis of the Russia hoax and the Robert Mueller witch hunt. 1, that Vladimir Putin wanted Donald Trump to win. 2, Putin took action to help Trump win. 3, the Russians had blackmail on Trump. That was the Steele dossier. And 4, that the Russians tried colluding with the Trump campaign. None of any of this was ever true.
Oh, why would you do this? Why would you do this? You would have to have like genuine information, but they didn't. And if this was for political gain, who was gaining? And reportedly, and I haven't seen it yet, maybe Brahma has it, but I guess Obama copped to the idea that he was running the Biden administration recently. I don't know. I think I'd like to hear that from his lips. Maybe we will.
There was no reliable intelligence to support any of these allegations. Senior CIA officials repeatedly refused to traffic in these allegations. but they were repeatedly overruled by CIA Director Brennan and FBI Director Comey, who insisted that they be pushed, even without verifiable evidence.
That's not good. Anyway, I think this story goes on a very long time, and I want to get to the part where Tulsi talks about what's going on. Of course, the lies are phenomenal coming out of the left. So, but let's move on.
There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness, and that then Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers. Then CIA Director Brennan and the intelligence community mischaracterized intelligence and relied on dubious substandard sources to create a contrived false narrative that Putin developed a quote-unquote clear preference for Trump.
Now, if Clinton was on tranquilizers like the Russians believed, why didn't they leak it to help Trump win?
That's an excellent point. But you have to remember, Russia considered Hillary a weaker candidate. I mean, obviously, those of us who voted for Trump did as well. Plus, she was a terrible Secretary of State, and she lied and operated a server that was not only insecure, but probably was trading in a lot of stuff we wouldn't like our senior officials to be trading in. Not a real big fan of the Hillary, but again, and believe it or not, it's not just because of her political affiliations. I want to see now. Again, this is a reporter who's going to ask Tulsi a very important question. Ready?
On it.
Do you believe that any of this new information implicates former President Obama in criminal behavior?
We have referred and will continue to refer all of these documents to the Department of Justice and the FBI to investigate the criminal implications of this.
For even former President Obama?
Correct. The evidence that we have found and that we have released directly point to President Obama leading the manufacturing of this intelligence assessment. There are multiple pieces of evidence and intelligence that confirm that fact.
Holy cow. If they have that information, that's a pretty big deal. It's a pretty big deal. So, Salty Goat, you think that assessment is right? Obama's going down? Well, Fox News is presenting a pretty clear case, or Jesse Waters is, I should suggest. And Tulsi Gabbard's own words are, well, hard to parse because it's basically, here's a lot of facts. And they can't be disputed. Still one of the best lines in that military drama movie with Tom Cruise. I think that was called A Few Good Men. I think the sentiment in this country is that the people who were doing wrong actually be punished for a change. And Davina, I think you're right. I think a lot of you in the chat have been right the whole time. And Bungalow Logic, enjoy your supper. But Davina says the wheels of justice grind slowly, but exceedingly fine. Yeah. Yeah. By the way, the comments in that particular thread are wonderful. And if you are not using Threadreader, why aren't you? Threadreader is great. It helps me burn through a lot of stuff really fast. And if I need extra help, I can basically download the thread, feed it into Grok, and it will break down the highlights and the high points and things that are factually accurate, which is good. I think AI is exceptional for research. I think it's probably underutilized for genuine research. This is a true story, Dr. Jones. Thank you for reminding me that Obama has been spotted in London with UK leaders today. Of course he has. Look, the English speaking globalists that are working with the WEF to destroy the Western world and bring about a one world government that enslaves us all. Well, Obama's always been on board with that plan. Could you imagine the number of laws that would have to come off the books if it were ever discovered that Obama couldn't demonstrate, or it was proven that, he wasn't genuinely a citizen? It's pretty crazy. Thank you, Dean Krantz. You are amazing. Much, much appreciated. And I hope you feel better soon. Let's see. A lot of you in fire in here. Sean says, Hillary, if you're listening, I love you and voted for you and the chat. Uh, I don't slip in showers, and I'm not wanting to unalive myself. Yeah, well, I don't think you'll get arc inside. There's two. She'd have to literally arc inside half the planet. I'm just saying. I do enjoy, and Six is one of the best researchers I know, by the way, and I appreciate her for that so much. But she's right; they will actually provide you with sources you can go to help solve problems, which is good. So, all right, let's keep moving on. We've got more because, again, today's theme is election integrity and voting, and pre-assigning blame is a big problem, especially for a billionaire like Pritzker. We'll get to that story probably on Thursday, but she can't get us all. Thank you, Brian. Our good friend Morgan King from up north, a place I worry about very much because I have friends there. I'm using Chat GPT right now to plan out a kayak build. Awesome. I could use Grok, but I'm. How'd you get suspended? Morgan, how did you get suspended? Grok is a better alternative, by the way. Especially expert mode. If you really want to get like skeletal plans for something like that, yeah. All right, let's keep going. I want to talk about one of the clips that I dropped that was in the montage just a moment ago. Because if you take a look, oops, that's the wrong share. Let's try the right one. If you take a look at what that clip was that the press secretary was being asked about, it was because ballots showed up randomly that shouldn't have, in a box it shouldn't have, in a place it shouldn't have. Not a few, many much ballots. If you're worried about election integrity, voter ID is a no-brainer. Not to mention the fact that every ballot should be tied to a specific voter. And if the person presents voter ID, demonstrates that they're that person, and votes and turns in that particular ballot, we're good. The problem is, as I said, a box that shouldn't have contained ballots was delivered to a place it shouldn't have been at all, and it's telling me I should be very worried, and you should too. Let's take a look at this. Election integrity. Maine officials claim their elections are secure, mocking Trump's request for voter rolls by telling him to jump in the Gulf of Maine. Yet, hundreds of blank ballots have surfaced in Amazon boxes outside state control, forcing Maine to launch an investigation, which I'm sure they will do the very least they can in this investigation because, well, the person that's running the state is of questionable repute at best and is outright communist, most likely. Definitely aligned with stuff. And let's see. Before I get there, Orlando, don't worry. Oh man, all these stories make me want to do uh, to is take out. Hang on, go to an ATM to take out a political thriller script and put back stuff readers said couldn't happen. Yeah, at the moment, I'd probably want to do that too. I mean, to be able to go to a writer and say, no, that definitely is going to happen. That definitely could happen. These things could definitely happen. Elections are secure. We're on a regular basis. This is happening, and they have no answers. They don't want to answer the reporter's question. You heard her. She skipped over the reporter in the montage because, well, it goes against the narrative. It definitely goes against what Pritzker was trying to push and peddle. And again, it's only the states that don't require ID where they get traction over this nonsense. Oh, wow. They didn't want you to repost RIP Charlie Kirk? That's nonsense. You got picked up by a commie agent still working for X. You needed to send that straight to Elon. Oh, they definitely want to do this, but I promise you, they're going to take all efforts to not have that happen. And you know what? Pritzker's worried about putting the soldiers outside. I think just put ICE agents outside. ICE agents. I think that they need to have access to all the voter rolls in every state because I'm sure they're going to find people who've been dead for a long time, especially in Illinois, because that's how they win elections there. And it's a joke to people. Most likely. You don't like that? What did I say wrong, 6? If a box of ballots in an Amazon box is Amazon delivering for the government now? And did this person that received this package need extra ballots for their household? What do you think's going on? All I know, this does not create trust in the system. Is that fair? And by the way, this is a news report verified multiple times. And of course, no questions were asked or answered, I should say, or even acknowledged by people talking about it. Dr. Jones says, breaking, Minnesota elections director Paul Linnell admits that illegal aliens can vote in the state elections with a driver's license. That's right. And they give everybody a driver's license. It was a really interesting situation today. Thank you, Dr. Jones, for reminding me of that. I find that disturbing. And look, I'm not making any direct claims. I'm just saying people have a reason to question. Because they do. Let's take a look at another one that's related. And again, normally this is the third rail. You don't want to touch it, but if you're going to, you report the actual news. You talk about the actual thing. And according to Eric Doherty, and this is borne out by the video I'll present afterwards, panic is worsening among Democrats after it sinks in just how many Republican House seats will be picked up through redistricting in 2026. I would imagine Democrats could lose 19 seats. This is a huge amount. It is. It's a giant chunk of a body that has what, 360 some or more? I don't even know how many anymore. I used to. But after the flawed census that we had just a bit ago, some states got seats they don't deserve. So Florida could be a gold mine. Everything left over is an advantage to the Republicans. The Supreme Court is considering ending the Voting Rights Act, which of course allows for racial gerrymandering. Of course, it was misnamed the Voting Rights Act on purpose, so they could make it so that some people counted more than others. So let's take a look at what total devastation looks like. Oh, that's exactly what would happen. There's a lot of leftists that would do that. There you go. Yeah, and look, I mean, obviously, if you do let that happen, if you don't vote and you end up with a Democratic House, they're absolutely going to start the wheels again on investigation. They will. Not because it's, genuine, but they will. The good news is they won't have a cooperating CIA, FBI, and, Department of Justice that are undermining the president at every step. They still have some judges that are doing that, but it is what it is. Anyway, that was fun. No sound? I think you guys... Oh, you didn't hear sound from that? Why not? You guys didn't hear that? Oh, man. There's no way. Share. All right, I guess I'm going to have to replay it. Let's go back. You guys are going to want to hear this guy.
Pretty accurately, mathematically, how
Can
the
you hear him
country is
now?
divided over the question of the presidency. But if you look at this is what the party pickups would be for congressional districts. Republicans, 5.
You can't hear it?
Missouri, 1. North Carolina, 1. Ohio, 2 or 3. Indiana, 1 or 2. Florida, still discussion down there, but that could be another gold mine for them if they tipped it even further their way. Kansas, 1. New Hampshire, 1. And Nebraska. Democrats, Utah, California, Maryland. Look at this. If you offset California and Texas, Missouri and Utah, North Carolina and Maryland, everything left over is an advantage to the Republicans. And don't forget, the Supreme Court is considering what could really be the end of the Voting Rights Act, which would protect minority groups. So you don't have a state that's half black, for example, that elects only one congressional member and everybody else goes to the Republicans that would represent that population in some ways. So if that is gutted, Democrats could lose 19 seats.
He's kind of spinning that. what it would mean is they couldn't draw lines along like racial things to cherry pick out one particular like section of the population where they would have dominance. You never should have been able to do this. The Voting Rights Act is complete garbage because it's been used for exactly what it was not intended to be used for, is to remove representation from, obviously people who are a little more pale than others, but that's a different conversation. Anyway, this is again something that's going to happen in this week of the Supreme Court. Believe it or not, they will have these arguments and go from there. Honestly, I think that racial gerrymandering is ridiculous, and I don't think anybody would want that. I wouldn't. Like I lived in a area where I was a severe minority for a period of time, and I certainly probably wasn't represented in the government. Um, it is what it is. The larger areas tend not to, you know, be made up of one race. It's usually outside of the urban areas, but that's just an entirely different conversation. I don't like the idea of gerrymandering at all, but it looks like Republicans are treating the system the way the Democrats did for 40 years. So it is what it is. All right. Oh, let's see what's happening. Oh, our good friend, or my good friend, or maybe he's your good friend as well. My good friend, um, Irate Specialist sent me something that I want to share with all of you. But first, I'm going to take a break and talk to you guys because I left a Dr. Jones message up there for like an hour. Uh, Six says, why was the montage presented in the way that makes it look sketchy? She gave a public press conference for 20 minutes talking about it. Well, that's the clip that I had access to because that was the clip. Um, I can only work with what I got. And as far as sketchy, well, the montage has been presented that way every time I've done it with the visual effects. That way, in case somebody would want to go crying, that might be borrowing their material, which I'm clearly not. It's publicly available news material, just like the White House presentation of Charlie Kirk's presidential uh, Medal of Freedom earlier today. That was from the Green Machine and directly from the White House. So just doing my best to protect myself. Six. A lot of people will put watermarks and other things like that and those things, and I just make it not happen. So a lot of people are wondering where their ballots went. I understand that. Well, you have to remember it's in sanctuary states like Minnesota where, they allow brothers and sisters to get married. So, I mean, your your thoughts are as good as mine on that one. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, I'm sorry about no sound. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate it. Six was really letting me know multiple times. I wish I'd looked at the chat while we were watching that, but I usually try to pay attention. Mark Daly says 19 seats. Please goodness, let it be true. That's where I'm at, right? These 19 seats over here, glorious. It would really secure the country into not being stolen by a severe minority, and I'm not talking racially. I'm saying by people who have, the most radical leftists of beliefs. I mean, the districting specifically in Minnesota is crazy. Insane. Minnesota needs change. Tony Piacente says, I can't believe what he is saying. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I fixed it. Don't be so mean. You need a montage. That's right. Everybody needs a montage. I saw. So I can boomer a stream twice in one day. It's okay. I'm not the only one doing it. Tom's not perfect. Neither is Andre. Okay. I mean, we all make errors. And I admit when I do, which is a good thing. But this is a clip, like you said, from my friend, irate specialist, who's doing me solids lately. Oh, by the way, speaking of irate specialist.
Culture Casino.
Yeah, I don't know what that was, but that was from Irate Specialist. I got another one in here. A specialty made by our friend, Release the McCracken. That would be Robbie Hart. And I will say thank you to Robbie when we run the clip, but it's because of my friend, my friend, Comics Division. He inspired it in a good way. In a good way. But our rate specialist didn't want me to miss this, so I grabbed it. That's Mr. Besant there. Trump takes somebody out to the trash. And it's fake news. Let's take a look.
Your ABC fake news. Brian, please. First of all, congratulations. I don't take questions from ABC fake news. After what you did with Stephanopoulos to the Vice President of the United States, I don't take questions from ABC fake news. Brian, go ahead. Yes. Your ABC fake news.
Oh, because Snuffleupagus, the little tweep, he cut off the vice president in the middle of a conversation and ran away to commercial. That's what he does. Every time that guy's getting his butt kicked, he runs to commercial. He cuts off the guest and runs to commercial. He's such a punk. Such a punk. So, yeah, I don't take questions from ABC fake news either. And I wanted to let Irate know that I actually had this already, but I like that he dropped it. And I appreciate it. So when you drop me stuff, I'm going to say thank you. Thank you very much. Because you helped me build a good show, a great show. We want to put on the best show. I can't do Trump. Yeah. We want to put on the greatest show ever made in the history of the United States. It'll be spectacular. Yeah, I can't do that. I'm not Brahmable. I think Vance is one of the smart guys that you really like. He's very personable and he's very, the fact that he's very level-headed and he keeps his composure in a way that not a lot of people could. He's also armed with a lot of information, and the fact that he retains it all is special. It's like some of the streamers, the personalities that I get to hang out with. I'm always like, you just had that stacked in there. Like I keep a lot of things in the brain, right? But I'm getting older, so things like escape, and usually language. But anyway, or pumping the mute button or something. But I work with the best. I'm genuinely thankful each and every day. So. ABC owned by Disney. Yep, it's very dizzy in there for sure. What's up? Real Wade Nation gaming clips. Check out Real Wade. He's a fun guy. CC never saw my merch link. I tagged him in. I didn't. I'll go looking again. It's huge. It'll be huge. You know, Nick does it really well too. 32 flavors of Nick Weiser. I always say thank you to you. I appreciate you and I say thank you. I oftentimes I compliment you, even when you're not here, about being one of the best researchers on the planet. But and if 6, I'm I appreciate you. Barry the Music Man says, I thought in a perfect world, JD would be the next president. And then Charlie Kirk. Yeah, I don't even, that's kind of my thinking. Obviously, the president, if you were here at the beginning of the show, and I think you were, Barry, when we were watching the presentation to Erica Kirk for the Presidential Medal of Freedom. He even mentioned it. So it would have been ideal. He was definitely bound. Okay. Hey, 6, I might be able to stop in. I may try. Say hi to Tom and the guys, though. I've got a lot to get done. Oh man, we're already over time. I feel bad. Let's see. Are we gonna get to the last one? We need to get to the last one because this is one of the moments that I knew just how corrupt 60 Minutes was. And just how poorly they are at covering up the fact that they are in the bag for one political party. And I think it's one of the reasons why Trump is stopped calling out CBS. Because it won't work. You've got Paramount, CBS under new leadership. And I think that really does make a difference. I think Barry Weiss is going to make a difference in news. But them trying to call her out as like right wing is about as dumb as you could possibly imagine. So yeah, I'm trying to redirect you guys to Midnight's Edge After Dark. Because me should be starting very soon. And I do not see Midnight's Edge After Dark. I don't see them, guys. I'm sorry. Oh, there we go. Save. All right. So let's get to the last clip I wanted to show you. I think it's important. I think it's very important. 6 dropped a 99-cent super sticker to give me some poop. Thanks. Thanks for the poop. Commander Ed Straker, thanks for being here for the stream. Much appreciated. And I grabbed this, but you could go check it out if you're on the Green Machine. I believe Mead has a Green Machine channel that you could be redirected to by anybody who's a wrench on the Green Machine side of things. So let's get to this last clip. I want to run it because I was gifted it, and I think it's very illuminating because of the lie told by the least reliable lady in news, next to, of course, what's the name of her? She only works one day a week. She looks like a female version of a moron commentator that used to do sports. Gosh, what was his name? I don't even remember anymore. Anyway. Oh, it's for my greenhouses? Oh, okay. A manure I do need, actually. All right, let's take a look at this. The media can't be trusted. Now, we know this for sure. Let's rewind. Be kind, rewind. Here we go.
Can't verify him walk out of a store and he's walking with a ice cream. And the question the media asks him, what kind of ice cream, what flavor ice cream do you have? And he's in the midst of a scandal.
He's not.
And he's taking,
He's
of course
not.
he is,
No,
Leslie.
come on.
Of course he is. It's the biggest, second biggest scandal.
So-
the biggest scandal was when they spied on my campaign. They spied on my
Well,
campaign,
there's
Leslie.
no real evidence of that.
Of course there is.
No.
It's all over the place. Leslie,
Sir,
they spied on my campaign and they got caught.
Can I say something? You know, this is 60 Minutes.
Yeah.
And we can't put on things we can't
No,
verify.
you won't put it on because it's bad for Biden.
We can't
Look, let
put
me tell
on
you.
things we can't verify.
Leslie, they spied on my campaign.
Well, we can't verify
It's been totally
that.
verified.
No.
It's been, just go down and get the papers. They spied on my campaign, they got caught.
No.
And then they went much further than that, and they got caught. And you will see that, Leslie, and you know that, but you just don't want to put it on the air.
As a matter of
You're a
fact,
liar.
I don't know.
She's just, everybody knew it. And this is why nobody trusts mainstream media. And you shouldn't. Every single thing coming out of mainstream or legacy media, as I like to call it, or dead media, which is more accurate, is questionable. Because in order to try to even present the idea that they're not lying, they'll use weasel words or present things in a very framed way that really isn't going to guide anybody to any knowledge or the truth. It's why you've got to rely on independent media these days. It's why there are a lot of us doing what I'm doing right now. You're going to see more. Since the loss of Charlie, which really did inspire me to push harder to get this show on the air for you guys. Yeah. Shellbox trying to steal my hat. I just feel like you're going to see more and more voices out there, and we're going to try to add more to that. And I know this. I know this will be hard to swallow, but we'll find somebody, maybe in the next 4 or 5 years, who can be as big a presence and as inspiring. This is something we talked about on the pro show towards the end today with Carrie. But there will be somebody, a young person that rises up. It could be a woman. It could be another male figure. It could be a future leader of Turning Point. I don't know, but somebody will come along and represent the same level of value, and be as fearless and be as well taught and well educated. Somebody who is a voracious reader like Charlie was. But until then, you're going to have an army of people seeking the truth. Dr. Jones is an example in the chat, and many others here. I have a collection of amazing compatriots, amazing colleagues, amazing coworkers, and I'm very grateful to that. And I'm very grateful for you. And if I don't say that enough, please let me know. But you guys are absolutely the best. So, Dr. Indiana Jones. No, he's Dr. Jones in the chat. You should actually you should talk with him, Six. He's great. I've had the opportunity to speak with him in person on multiple occasions now, and absent a little bit of a a bad circumstance, I think he's back to play for real, which is good. On that note, guys, you're going to want to check out, I'm sending you over there, Midnight's Edge. After dark, Tom and the guys are going to talk about, looks like one woke thing after another at the very least, and the lack of star power for Leonardo DiCaprio, I'm sure. On that note, I'll just say the following, as I always do. Be sure to take care of yourself. Take care of others. And until next time, enjoy the... oh, wait. I have to play this clip from Robbie. Allow this, and then I'll play the ending. Here we go.
Hi, Billy Mays here with the Comics Division's Leg Extenders. The robotic boots that give you a lift whenever you need it. 3 adjustable levels you can rise up to grab what used to be out of reach. Hi, Billy Mays here with the Comics Division's Leg Extenders. The robotic boots that give you a lift whenever you need it. 3 adjustable levels you can rise up to grab what used to be out of reach. Hi, Billy Mays here with the Comics Division's Leg Extenders. The robotic...
Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no controlling me. My thoughts get so bad, I'm like, I might grab a bat, I don't know. My wrath, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll play it on your face just to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you go wish you would shut the fuck up real bad. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. I don't fucking take smoke, I'ma poke a hole through you, choking's overdue. Come at me and you won't get any older, dude. Crack your holder too. Heating up inside of me, blood so violently. Thanks for trying me. Now it's finally time to see how this rivalry becomes a dynasty.